so weird.
To make this possible,
do one
special
more.
thanks to them. When you invest in them, you invest in ministry and in the city of Cleveland.
Now tell YouTube to subscribe.
And then click the subscribe button. So go to Get Your Swag like this. I put on it's a rainy day today. It's like a little poncho.
I don't get nothing. Did y'all notice? I don't get nothing.
No, she gets plenty of things. She just never changes her clothes.
They tell don't give it to that girl. That's all right though.
So anyway, go to ScrantonRoadMinistries.org or ScrantonRoadPromo.org, ScrantonRoadMinistries.org, ScrantonRoadPromo.org for your company needs. What's your problem?
You take your job too seriously. What's up, my people on YouTube? You got 3 people on YouTube. You over here, I'm a YouTube star. What's up, David, Mike, Joe, man, all the guys, Tony. Where's Callie, Deb? They're like, the women are busy. We're busy. We got stuff to do. I bet you Callie's working out or something. That's what she did last time. All the guys are ready. That's because Brian.
What are you doing? You're busy? What are you doing?
I'm over here trying to work with you.
One of my favorite stories was you were over last fall, a year ago, at your in-laws' house. And
thank you. I work.
Len and all the boys spent hours raking and
yeah, because they got 7 acres. It was crazy.
Raking and raking and raking and raking. And I was like, what were you doing? Oh, I was inside.
I was
making sure
them.
everybody's going to get dinner. I was inside making sure people get dinner.
That's
and I was like,
right.
And she thought she was going to leave it alone. I'd be like, oh, wow, that was great of you. I said, oh, yeah? What'd you make? And you got this smile on your face.
I ordered pizza at Domino's. Thank you. I ordered it. I went and picked it up.
And the amount of time that Len made one small pile of leaves out of hours of work, you made a phone call.
And then you know what I did? I went outside. And he doesn't get annoyed. They're raking, doing all that. I get the pizza. One of my boys was like taking a break and practicing his backflip. And I went outside and was taking video. Can you imagine being Len and you see all that? I know he wants to be like, can you help?
You want to hear how amazing my wife Sarah is?
Can you say, no, because Len, before you talk about Sarah, he brought this to Len. And Len said, and he told me when I asked, he's like, you don't belong outside. I got it. I got 4 boys. He said, I don't belong outside.
Do you think he was kind of hoping secretly you're going to do more than order?
No, I got 4 boys.
Either way, I got this great photo of Sarah from years ago in our backyard in Chicago wearing Matthias, or was it Teddy, in one of those wraps?
I don't do that.
While raking.
No, I don't do that.
I was raking too.
4 boys. One of them's like 6'5".
5 kids.
No. My boys need to go outside and help. My job was spending 10 years birthing all these kids. That's what Len says.
That's a long labor. And yeah, she's also the one. What else did you do the other day? You're like, I don't like to pump gas because you got to get up.
I hate that. So
I don't
you
like
know what I do?
Get up, pump gas.
do. First of all, I always take it to eat. I know that's not good. My dad was a mechanic. I get it. I hate pumping gas. And so now that my boys are older, I'll like if I'm on E and I'm by the house, I'll go pick them up. Hey, you busy? Then I'll pick them up like we're going somewhere. Then I'll be like, can you pump gas for me? I hate it with a passion.
It doesn't make any sense of things to hate.
You gotta get out. And then if it's cold outside, it's even worse. And then you gotta sit there. Oh, I hate pumping gas. My dad would always, maybe it's my dad's fault. He would always pump it from, plus, in the East Coast, there's like full service gas station. Where the heck are they here? Like...
Because we don't need help with that. Because that's
I do.
I pump it, go sit down, have a conversation, look at my phone.
But you gotta get, and then you gotta get out again to take it out.
Oh, you have to stand up twice.
Oh.
How does she do it?
I hate
standing up. Oh.
Tara says, I made it. Happy Monday, amigos. Craig says, good morning. And my 600 Facebook friends, Craig Helm, retired minister. Can you say hi? Let's visit Craig because he's like a big deal. Craig. What's up, Craig? He's from Fairview Park, Ohio. He has a master's in religious education. What you got? You don't even got nothing.
I don't have a master's in that, I'll tell you that.
Rob says, we were in Oberlin and didn't order Lorenzo's. I know. And the boys need to help. The boys got
No.
That's what Len is doing. He is raising boys to know you keep the women inside and you get your butt out and do the hard labor.
I thought it was 2020. Women are
not
strong.
in my house. Not in my house. 4 boys. Thank you. You know what we do, and this is what my baby says. I'm in the house inside, baking with the girls. That's what I do. Lorenzo's, the best pizza shop ever.
So watch this.
That's okay.
Watch this. Did you order Lorenzo's for them when they were raking?
No, they don't get Lorenzo's.
What did they get? What'd you got?
You know what I used to do? Did I tell you?
Did you see this?
When
she
I didn't
knows
want
it's
to
the best
cook?
one in the world. She's doing nothing.
Yeah, they don't get that.
She didn't even order the best pizza.
Yo,
in town.
Isaiah will tell you, when I was like tired and I didn't want to cook because I was either pregnant or whatever, I would order a Little Caesar and give it to them. And then I would order Papa John's for me and tell him to go downstairs, open the door, and get my Papa John's and not share. This is a lot of kids to give expensive pizza to. They don't get that. Rob, oh yeah, Lorenzo's is the best. Joe says, so you get them a snack for pumping? Yeah, I do. They'll get a snack, but they got to go in and get it.
The way she said that, most often, they do not get a snack, right?
No.
No, see,
Yeah,
I knew it. I know her. She's got this way of saying stuff where she's like,
Well, you don't.
I did that once.
That's bad training. You do it because I'm your mother and you want to help. They don't get a treat. I got one kid. He wants to get paid. One time I gave him a treat a couple times, and then one day I was like, yo, can you get my charger downstairs? He's like, how much are you going to give me for that? I was like, that's the last time I'm giving you a treat for doing anything for me. What am I going to get for that? That's not how you train kids. David said, full service gas station left in the 80s. New Jersey got it going on. They got full service all over the place.
Do they?
They got it going on.
Why don't you go to New Jersey then?
On YouTube, Yolanda says, I missed you guys. They're trying not to get robbed on the East Coast.
That's exactly
wow,
what it is.
Seriously? No.
You sure you don't want to sit down? This is a lot. You're standing up right now. It's almost like pumping gas.
Yo, can
Sit
I
down,
just
go
get
ahead.
Can I just get credit that
Sit
I
down.
spent 10 years having kids and nursing? It's my time
What's
now.
Len been doing?
To sit.
Taking a break?
To sit. I cook and I gotta do stuff for them.
Well,
Gary said he got it. Queen Jannelle. That is the truth.
here, hold on. You got to be
That's
funny
the
right now.
truth. Len knows.
Here
He
you go.
knows what's
Here,
up.
Have a seat. It's a lot. You're standing
Len
up.
knows.
She's standing up.
My
This is a
baby
lot.
knows. Len knows what's up.
Is that better?
He knows. Yo, imagine. My girls ain't gonna be taking no little a boy better bring it if they want to talk to Raina. That's how you raise them. Thank you. She was like, I told you we were in the car and the gate was closed at the house and she was gonna get out. I was like, dude, you got brothers, you better sit there. And I called the boys. Now they got a cell phone, so I can call for everything. They're inside in the living room. I'm like, can you come outside and open the gate for me?
I can see
Oh my
Nia
God.
someday. Her husband is outside working real hard in the yard or something. He comes in and she'll go, baby, I did something so sweet for you. I've been thinking about you. I ordered you this pizza, baby. I love you. So women do.
Oh my gosh. Hey, it's been working. Len ain't going nowhere. He loves me.
He's stuck with you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about.
You know your girls are going to do that. Mommy, I cooked tonight. I cooked some Little Caesars. Cooked it up.
Rob says, ha ha, Gary might have been given that title as a compliment. Let's see. I am Queen Jannelle. My daughter, please, you should see how Raina walks around. Thank you. And Len gets it. Why don't you, Len should school you on how you take care of a woman. That's messed up.
Len's the guy who his wife comes home with getting her hair done and says,
Oh
why'd you do that? I don't like it. It looks bad.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Teach a class on that, Len.
Oh,
All right, so.
just because he's on your team, I'm going to give you this point. I know what you're doing, Gary, whatever. Gary is all about hashtag Team Brian. Rob says, so it was probably a compliment, that title, Queen Jannelle. Gary comes on and specifically responds to Rob and says, not intended that way. Wow, he is all on your team.
But no, more like princess. The queen's got to make decisions and get up.
I do. I make decisions. I delegate.
The princess just hangs out.
That's my role.
All right, let's stop.
I'm giving you a hard time. It's Monday. That's what I do on Mondays,
You
right?
left it till overtime.
Yeah. I
You were
give her a
being
hard time.
real nice.
This is what you do to your much older sister.
Oh, please.
You
Don't
give her a
get me
hard time.
started.
It keeps her humble.
Don't get me started.
She's got to know. that
Yo, you
at
want me
her
to
age,
really, do you want me
she
to
gotta
flip
stay
it
her
on you?
toes.
Do you want me to flip it on you?
What?
Exactly. You want me to say something?
Well, you have to get up.
Off air, you were like, oh yeah, Sarah started working and I started realizing, oh, maybe I should help with cooking.
Yeah.
I'm
cook
like,
now.
dude,
I
you
cook.
realized that years after being married?
Well, she was cooking.
And she had
She
to
wasn't
tell
ordering
you?
pizza.
Whatever, go.
You're right. You're burning.
Gosh,
Okay.
we got issues.
We?
Go ahead. Oh, please, Gary.
What?
Raking leaves and shoveling the driveway should be a family affair.
Yeah, it's built.
That's
it's
crazy.
marriage
What kind
building.
of family is that?
Where a husband could go, babe. Just hold your horses.
Bye. Tony says no, can't
I
hear.
think it's back.
I'm not even gonna help you.
I think it's back. Is it back? Hello?
I'm waiting.
Hello?
My ear hurts.
Hello? It's
No
back.
sound.
Yeah.
Yes, Rob says it.
Thank you, Robert. Rob. So anyway, St. Barnabas Episcopal Church, Bay Village, Pastor Alex Martin. It's the visual representation, this Jesus statue, the homeless Jesus. Remember the life-size bench, life-size statue, covered up with a blanket, feet exposed with the wounds in his feet. And it's an artistic rendering of Matthew 25. I was hungry and you fed me. I was naked and you clothed me. I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. Whatever you do for the least of these, you do for me, Jesus says. And what happened was within 20 minutes of the statue getting plopped into the yard of the church, somebody called the police. There's a homeless person asleep on a bench.
Yeah.
Now, I think the pastor did the right thing in that the pastor and many people interviewed for the story indicated they thought that the person who called the police had good intentions, that it was somebody making sure someone was cared for. I just wasn't as quick to assume the best in people, knowing that Bay Village is a nice community. My guess is that it's equally as possible that somebody was being nice as it is somebody's going, last thing we need here is a bunch of homeless people sleeping on people's
Yeah.
benches. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what we talked about earlier today was what is the right response as a believer? Jannelle is trying to get out of doing anything the whole time. I got the kids, I'm busy, I'm hungry.
I've done stuff with
I'm scared of people.
Oh, please.
I got problems. So what's the right response for a Christian? If you think you see somebody homeless sleeping on a bench, call the police, is that it?
I thought LeBron's house was in Bay Village. Is it that
He
wealthy
lives
out
in
there?
Akron.
No, yeah. In Brentwood.
What you doing looking up LeBron stuff?
I just was trying to see how wealthy Bay Village is. I've never been there, I don't think. So you're saying what's the right way to handle it? Yolanda said they're trying not to get, oh no, that's something else. Somebody said, somebody texted in earlier in the conversation and said, two people actually, said maybe they thought the person was dead on a bench. I thought that's a valid reason. It's
if
a
somebody
statue.
had lost consciousness on the bench,
That's what it is. It's Bath, Ohio. I always confuse Bath with Bay Village. Thank you, Rob. Man, you got it together. You should come and do a morning show with me. Rob and Jannelle. Help me.
I don't think you want Rob doing that.
Jennifer, oh, go ahead. If somebody, you were responding to the dead person on the.
I don't know if that's a fair assumption. Okay, a couple reasons. Number one, there's been plenty of times I've seen a homeless person and have had a sinful response, as in like, oh great, here we go.
Yeah.
Or look at this person sleeping on the street.
Yeah.
Like I've had that response, so I believe it's happened to other people. Number one. Number two, if we see somebody who we think is in distress, dead, unconscious, in any other scenario, we're gonna probably do something.
I told you though the response that,
Just keep
especially
going?
a woman can have. Yeah, you could be set up to be attacked or.
But you see what it looks like. Anyway, cops, looks like we have a dead guy on a bench here. I got to run. I got an appointment. See ya.
No, well, it doesn't. It's not like that. It's somebody saying, "Yo, I'm concerned. I think I see someone. They may be hurt. Can you come check on them?"
I just don't know why we give ourselves such an excuse to be so callous.
Yeah.
Well, they're homeless. I mean, they die all the time.
Jennifer, thank you. That's what I'm saying. She says, well, honestly, at first glance, I didn't see homeless person, but a body. Maybe I watched too many detective shows. That's exactly what I'm talking about. 2020,
You don't watch all that?
Dateline. I do watch it. It's like obsessive. It's kind of messed up. I actually recently, because I'm busy, you know, like I can't sit and watch 2020. I love their podcast, by the way. But it does mess with you. And it makes you think, man, this could be the story where it'll be like, why would you even stop? Why wouldn't you just call the police? Sarah says, wouldn't it be right to at least call the church first to let them know what's on their property and for them to care for it? Obviously, the church would let them know the truth.
Sure. And Sarah's also seeing, I can see how it isn't obviously Jesus. Right, and that's the point. The point of it is, I think along the lines of the parable of the Good Samaritan,
Yeah.
where the busy religious people were too busy or too scared or whatever to help the guy, and it was the unlikely person that stopped to help. And if you do it for the least of these, you do it unto me. I mean, I just feel like we give ourselves a pass quickly if the person's homeless to have to care. Don't we?
Yeah.
If you saw just a random guy who didn't look homeless wearing a suit laying in a bench
Exactly.
looking dead,
Exactly.
what you gonna do? Call the
Yeah,
police to go to your
no.
appointment?
Okay, let's be fair though. We've known that people who are homeless, we've talked about many struggle with drug issues, mental health issues. You know, I'm not necessarily equipped to know how to react if I come up. Now, I've done this, but laying on a bench could surprise you. You don't know how the person would react, or I could see.
Just tell them how Len wakes up from a nap.
Oh my God. So like I've always stayed home for all of our relationship actually. So when I started working, now I wake up. I'm starting to find out it's like an hour and a half before he does. I'm like, dude, like anyway. So I wake up before he does. The first few weeks, I'm like kissing him before I leave, and when it happened the first time, he got startled and went like this. He was about to punch me. He said he thought somebody was in the house.
Whenever he gets startled.
Yeah. Our God. Oh my gosh, that is so extreme.
It should be back now.
Danella, it sounds like our husbands need to like hang out. They
No,
are
they might
so
punch each other.
similar. Punch each other. Oh,
Oh, he's ready to punch somebody. It should be back now. Let us know if it's back.
so, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Okay, yeah. There we go.
Somebody said he was gone by the time someone could check on him. Aaron said.
Oh yeah, the person in the steps of the church.
Sarah says we're going back to past conversations about helping the needy, even to the point of making ourselves uncomfortable. You see, though, people mess with that. There are stories of people knocking on your door and people telling you don't do that. Let's say hitchhikers. They'll use pregnant women to like set people up to feel bad and then they get jacked up. Or people knocking on your door using a woman or whatever. And so you hear, then they come and barge in. So the
So-
whole thing about, oh, it's okay to feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it could be your gut telling you, no, dude, there's a smarter way to address this. Call the police. That's what I'm trying to say. Let's not ignore things that happen.
How do we know that the religious leaders and Pharisees in the parable of the Good Samaritan didn't go and tell authorities when they arrived in their place?
Right.
The point was that somebody was in need and they kept going. That's the point.
Okay.
And the Samaritan risked his everything, his time, his money, his reputation.
So then you would counsel your wife and your daughters, yeah, when you see something, stop and address it.
I mean, I would say be smart about it, but
What's
leave
smart?
the scene if somebody might be dead on a bench.
What's smart? You're saying what? So yeah, calling the police is fine. You're saying stay
Find another
around.
bystander to go with you, knock on the door of the church,
Yeah.
do something. It just seems to me like we give people a pass to be callous when it's a homeless person.
Rob says, is the position for sound tech still open? Asking for a friend? That's messed up. That's because we got Brian over there in charge of it.
You see
I
what I
don't
put
know
up with?
what
Rob?
you're doing.
You see what I have to put up with?
Oh my gosh.
I think we give people if it's homeless, we don't have to care as much. We come up with a whole bunch of reasons.
Kathy says, I'd never pick up a hitchhiker. What's the difference?
Making sure there isn't somebody unconscious from a drug overdose on a bench versus picking up someone who's hitchhiking.
Right, there are different ways that people need help. There's that. There's they ask you for money. We've said, be careful who
I
you.
think we always err on the side of compassion, but a hitchhiker I think is tangibly different.
Sarah says, oh, definitely. We live with that reality all the time here, too. It might be a setup. That's the thing. Danella says, I think stopping and addressing it is often calling the police. Calling the police is okay if you think there's trouble. They actually prefer that we do it this way versus handling things on our own.
Yeah, but the person, as far as we know, wasn't still on the scene when the police arrived. Like, doesn't it show care and compassion if somebody might be dead on a bench to stick around?
Yeah.
Like to say, I'm a witness, I care about their well-being, I can tell you what happened. Like, we would do that if it was somebody in a business suit, we would do it if it's a jogger.
Not all the time. There are situations, if we're going to keep it real, where, like, let's say there's domestic abuse in your neighborhood or a fight where you would call the police but not put yourself out there, right? You don't want to get involved. You don't want issues. I just think we do, depending on where you live, you got to be street smart. And, man, I don't know if people in Bay Village got that, but I'm just saying.
You got that?
I got a little bit more of that than the average person. I have to, And so I could see somebody calling the police and saying, because there's even
I got
times.
your back. I didn't say anything right here. I got so much I could say, but I just left it. 'cause I'm
There's
your friend.
whatever. Oh, well, the thing in Chicago. Yeah.
Well, that too, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm just saying Dateline will do that to you. Even little things like there's times I've called the police and they'll be like, okay, great. So we'll put this down. Give me your name and number. I'm like, no. Because it's like no, you don't want to get involved. There's stories. Danella says, Danella continues and says, maybe they were busy, but they did attempt to intervene. I just don't think it's fair to judge what we don't know. At the end of the day, we don't even have enough knowledge to understand why that person left. I don't think it's fair to assume that they did it maliciously or carelessly.
I'm not assuming either. What I'm doing is I believe there's an equal chance it was kind-hearted versus callous.
Yeah.
I think it's a coin toss as to which way it was because that's how I react to things. And what I'm trying to say is that I think we like to find reasons to not have to care. And
Yeah.
people react differently. You should tell that story about the subway platform in Chicago.
Well, yeah, we were in Chicago, which I've never been to, especially on the subway. And a guy, big old guy, he looked kind of scruffy or whatever the word is. And he walked up to us all like walking up. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I just wanted Len. I was like, where's Len?
She was basically like, I'm about to die. This guy's going to kill me.
I thought he was going to. Because you hear stories, like I've been to New York a lot. And I know New York and Chicago are similar compared to Cleveland. So you hear stories of people being pushed on the subway. I didn't know what that dude was doing. And so he just went and said yes and just approached them. And then he wanted like change or whatever. I would rather, because I can't fight. And I can't hold, like, don't tell nobody because I don't want nobody jumping me. I'm just saying. I would rather be like, okay, let me call the police because I don't know, like, if I'm in a dangerous situation.
So let me ask you this then. Let's just say you see what appears to be an old lady asleep on the bench, could be dead. How do you respond? Do you say, that could be some dude dressed up like an old lady's going to kill me?
No, I've actually approached old lady. I've had my children.
Well, but don't you see that's careless?
I've done that.
It could be somebody
I know.
dressed up
I've
trying to hurt
that.
you.
Isaiah actually did that. Like, we've done that. We stop and I try to read the situation. Thank you, Jannelle. I ain't crazy. Plus, my husband wasn't with me. I had Brian. Oh, I was like, oh, goodness. I'm about to die.
What does the news media say to the person who passed by an old lady who was in distress because they were afraid it could be a setup? What does society say about that person? They're like, wow, really? Someone needs help, you're just going to go by because it's a setup?
Right, and then you hear the stories here in Cuyahoga County of people's houses getting barged into because they opened the door to a woman and they didn't know that right behind that woman there were guys, and you hear those stories. And so how do we react to those people? Man, y'all don't know, you can't be trusting everybody. So it's more complicated. Now, if you live in Bay Village, your reality may be a little different. Deborah says, never wrong to call the police. Patricia says, if they thought it was a corpse, appropriate to call authorities. Jannelle said, I'd call the police on a bench too. It's probably not fair because I'm married to the police, but I don't touch the people. Oh, man.
She doesn't either. She doesn't even pump her own gas.
I don't. That's stupid. Pumping
Yeah,
gas
it's
is
interesting.
dumb.
I don't know. I guess I'm just not as quick as everybody else
You're a guy.
to look for an excuse.
You're a guy.
I am pretty ripped.
Exactly. So
I mean,
with
everyone
all
sees Brian,
those
they're like, wow.
muscles...
Brian could take him.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So if I was you, I'd be like, man, I'm stopping for everybody. I don't have all those. So, Deborah says each situation's different. I got to do what is comfortable for you. Even for example, because Len's
Here
trying to
we go.
work with me because I trust too much.
Here we go.
When now I got my boys and they're like, they can handle business. So I'm in a different situation. But I'm very naive and I'm like, oh, everything's good. And so I would go bike riding with them into the metro parks and like ride, and he had to teach me, like, dude, like, people get jacked up in the metro parks. It doesn't happen often, but he's like, where are you gonna go? Where 5, 6 kids, somebody approaches you. So he's like, I know it's not often, but you hear the stories. It's happened in Summit County, happened in Cuyahoga. So that's what makes me not be like, oh, look, he's on a bench, let me walk. I could see Len telling me, you don't do that. That's what you got the police for. They'll be here in a second. So I don't know. I'm surprised that you're not saying, oh, yeah, it could be a little bit more complicated. It's not just, they're homeless, I'm a believer,
I'm saying
let
it
me
could be
walk up.
complicated, but I think that we try to give ourselves far too many excuses and don't realize we have our own double standard.
Right.
That we are less willing to help the homeless.
Gary says, time for self-defense classes. I got my security team.
Jannelle is bringing up COVID now.
Rob says, right, we hear both stories. You only can make the decision best for you at the time. Yeah, trust your gut. The issue is whether or not you're ignoring the intuition. I like that. So he kind of agrees with you. But it's like, it's not black or white. It's not see a homeless person, go and walk up and see what's wrong. You got to read the situation, see how the Holy Spirit's leading you. No,
Well, Michael Jackson said it doesn't matter if it's black or white.
it doesn't. That's right. Because we listen to him all the time.
That's about it for us
So
today.
no. So
What?
what's your, based on everything we've said, what's your...
Long story short, Jannelle's wrong.
Okay, good, thanks. You're annoying. Mira.
Well, I should have gone like